Nigeria is entering a new political season, and this time, nobody is pretending. The fight for 2027 has started early, and the tone is already sharp. It began with one big move, Nasir El-Rufai telling Atiku Abubakar to stop chasing the presidency and support Peter Obi instead. No secrets. No careful language. Just a direct statement that hit the political space like thunder. El-Rufai said what many top figures have been whispering for months. If the goal is to remove Tinubu from Aso Rock in 2027, the opposition must unite behind one strong candidate. Because if they fail to unite, APC will win again by simply dividing them. This message was not emotional. It was strategic. El-Rufai has been in the system long enough to see ahead, and he knows one fact that many people hate to admit. Only a strong coalition can shake the ruling party. Atiku's camp did not expect this kind of pressure from El-Rufai. But the surprise was not only from the message. It was because Atiku had already taken a dramatic step. He officially joined the African Democratic Congress, ADC. After decades of contesting under PDP, he finally moved, and this alone changed the entire equation. The moment he joined ADC, many analysts believed he was coming to take the presidential ticket. They believed he had one final run in him. They believed he would never step aside for anyone. But then came El-Rufai's statement. A message that went straight to the point. A message that sounded like advice but carried the weight of a warning. A message that told Atiku that if he truly wants to remove APC from power, then supporting Peter Obi is the wiser move. This statement brought silence into the political space. It did not matter whether people supported APC, PDP, LP, or ADC. Everyone knew the weight of what just happened. El-Rufai is not known for random talk. He is not known for empty comments. When he speaks about power, he speaks with intention. Behind the scenes, politicians understood that something bigger was taking shape. Atiku joining ADC was supposed to be a show of strength. But El-Rufai turning that same move into a call for unity changed the meaning. It shifted the attention from Atiku's ambition to the larger mission of removing the ruling party. El-Rufai's message did not dismiss Atiku. It did not insult him. It did not undermine his experience. It simply pointed to a truth that even Atiku's loyal supporters could not deny. The opposition cannot win with 2 or 3 major candidates fighting for the same space. Not against a ruling party that controls the structure, the machinery, and the state resources. This is why El-Rufai pushed the conversation toward Peter Obi. Not because Obi is perfect. Not because Obi has declared any intention. But because Obi has something more powerful than money and political history. He has a national movement. He has fresh trust from millions of young Nigerians. He has a reputation that cuts across regions. He has momentum that does not rely on old networks. El-Rufai understands that elections are not only about structures. Elections are also about energy, trust, and public hunger for something different. And right now, Peter Obi carries the largest block of that energy. So when El-Rufai told Atiku to step aside and support Obi, he was saying something deeper. This is not about pride. This is not about age. This is not about ego. This is about strategy. Atiku joining ADC created a new wave. El-Rufai's message created a new direction. Together, they opened a chapter that nobody saw coming this early. Across Nigeria, conversations shifted. People began to ask questions. If Atiku is now in ADC, will he accept being part of a coalition behind Obi? Is El-Rufai speaking for himself, or is he speaking as part of a larger group planning a unified war against APC? Will ADC become the new home of opposition unity? And most importantly, will the opposition finally do what Nigerians have been begging them to do for years, work together instead of fighting each other? These questions are not small. They carry weight because they reflect the country's mood. People are tired. People want change. People want a clear plan. And El-Rufai's message sounded like the beginning of that plan. For the first time in a long time, Atiku is being pulled toward a role he has never played before, the role of a kingmaker, not the king. A role that requires sacrifice, not ambition. A role that could save the opposition from another defeat. Whether he will accept this role or fight back is still unknown. But one thing is clear. El-Rufai has started a fire that will not go out soon. His message has changed the tone of the 2027 build-up. It has made unity a public demand, not a private discussion. And it has placed Peter Obi at the center of a movement he has not even declared interest in. The political temperature is rising. The alliances are shifting. And the battle line is beginning to form. This is how the storm started. While El-Rufai's statement was shaking the political space, another force was rising quietly and steadily, the African Democratic Congress Coalition, now one of the fastest-growing political movements in the country. What started as a small platform has now turned into a gathering point for frustrated politicians, policy experts, youth groups, retired civil servants, and political actors who want a new direction for Nigeria. The moment Atiku officially joined ADC, the coalition gained unexpected weight. It was no longer a side party. It was no longer a platform for only young activists and smaller political actors. With Atiku's entry, the entire political climate shifted. And immediately, different groups began discussing the possibility of a grand opposition merger. But here is where things became even more interesting. Even though Atiku joined ADC, the coalition still continued to mention Peter Obi as the central figure for a united front. Not out of disrespect. Not out of disregard. But because of one simple truth, Obi has the strongest public trust across diverse voter groups. Still, the coalition never announced anything officially. They kept their strategy tight. But behind closed doors, there was heavy movement. Power brokers who once ignored ADC were now making calls. Regional youth leaders were holding private meetings. Civil society groups that once kept a distance from party politics began opening their doors. Everyone wanted to know the same thing. What is ADC building? And where does Peter Obi fit into it? Even though Peter Obi had not left Labour Party, even though Labour Party was deep in a leadership crisis, and even though he had not declared any intention for 2027, his name kept rising in every coalition conversation. It was almost impossible to discuss a strong opposition lineup without bringing him into the equation. And the reason was simple. His presence alone could unite millions of young Nigerians who have no interest in old political games. His reputation for clean leadership gives him an advantage over candidates who carry years of political baggage. His movement in 2023 showed something unusual. He could mobilize people without bribery, without forced loyalty, and without old political structures. The ADC coalition understood this. They understood that a united opposition needs more than a well-known name. It needs a candidate that people can genuinely trust. It needs someone who can draw emotional commitment, not just political calculation. But here was the twist. No one knew what Peter Obi was planning. He remained calm. He remained careful. He remained focused on national issues instead of personal ambition. All he said publicly was that he supports any coalition that will remove APC from power and rebuild the country. That statement, though simple, changed everything. It energized the coalition. It created hope. It created expectation. Even without saying "I will run," Obi's words pushed ADC leaders to work faster. They wanted the structure to be ready before he made any final decision. Meanwhile, Labour Party continued to sink deeper into internal fights. Court battles. Leadership claims. Suspensions. Counter-suspensions. No unity. No strategy. No clear direction for 2027. For many observers, it was only a matter of time before Obi moved to a more stable platform. Some believed he would return to Labour Party and try to fix it. Some believed he would join ADC and lead the coalition. Some believed he would wait until the last minute and then make a shocking announcement. But regardless of the uncertainty, one thing was becoming clear. ADC was positioning itself to become the center of opposition unity. They were not trying to be a third force anymore. They were trying to become the main force. They were setting up committees across states. They were reaching out to former governors, former ministers, former legislators, and political influencers who were tired of the same cycle. They were creating internal reforms to make the party more organized. They were preparing for something bigger than any election they had ever contested. Atiku's presence gave them national reach overnight. El-Rufai's message gave them direction. Obi's quiet support for coalition building gave them hope. Together, these three factors created something unusual, a political momentum that did not rely on noise. And while APC continued to strengthen its hold on government structures, the ADC coalition continued to grow in silence. Not with rallies. Not with loud speeches. But with strategic planning. With quiet meetings. With serious reforms. Their goal was simple. Build a united front that can challenge APC in 2027. Build a platform strong enough to attract millions of frustrated Nigerians. Build a structure that can bring together older politicians, younger voters, civil groups, and anyone willing to fight for a new Nigeria. But the biggest question remained hanging over the entire coalition like a cloud. Who will carry the flag? Atiku? Peter Obi? Or a fresh name that nobody is expecting? No matter what the answer becomes, the coalition is preparing for a storm. The pieces are moving. The alliances are forming. And the countdown to 2027 is speeding up. The political rush has started. And the ADC coalition is right at the center of it. The push to remove Tinubu in 2027 is no longer a rumor. It is no longer a quiet plan that politicians hide behind closed doors. It has now become one of the biggest political missions in the country. Every political actor can feel it. Every region is discussing it. Every group is preparing for the coming battle. El-Rufai has delivered his message. The ADC coalition is expanding with new speed. Atiku has crossed into ADC and shocked the country. And millions of Nigerians are now watching one man closely, even though he has not said anything about running, Peter Obi. The entire atmosphere feels like a storm building up. Everyone knows something is coming, but nobody knows what shape it will take. The interesting part is that Peter Obi has not declared his interest. He has not said he wants to contest. He has not left Labour Party, even though the party is almost falling apart due to leadership crisis. Yet his silence is louder than speeches. His silence makes politicians uncomfortable. His silence makes youth groups restless. His silence creates pressure without him lifting a finger. Political players across parties understand one thing clearly: a united opposition cannot form without deciding who will be the face of the movement. They know this decision will determine the fate of 2027. But they also know that this decision is the hardest to make. Atiku wants to remain relevant and respected after decades of political service. El-Rufai wants a candidate strong enough to defeat APC. ADC wants a national figure who can bring millions into their new coalition. And Peter Obi wants a united front that can truly change Nigeria, not just replace one group with another. These different interests are now competing quietly, creating tension in the air. The ruling party is not blind to what is happening. APC knows that a divided opposition gives them an easy victory. But a united opposition creates their biggest nightmare. This is why APC has started reinforcing its structures, strengthening alliances, and preparing the ground long before the campaign season begins. They understand what is at stake. But the real fear inside APC is simple. Will the opposition finally unite behind one candidate? Because if that happens, the 2027 election becomes a real battle. On the other side, ADC is working day and night. They are building committees across the country. They are forming think tanks. They are reaching out to technocrats who refuse to join politics for years. They are talking to retired civil servants, youth groups, and professional associations. They want to build something stronger than a party. They want to build a national machine. Atiku's presence gives them experience. Elrufai's boldness gives them direction. Obi's movement gives them energy. But even with all this, the question of the flag bearer hangs like a heavy weight. Some ADC members want Atiku to take the lead since he has the longest political experience. Some want a fresh figure with no old baggage. Some want Peter Obi because they believe he has the widest trust among young Nigerians and middle-class voters. Some want a joint ticket that merges North and South in a new pattern. These arguments are happening quietly, but they are happening everywhere. Meanwhile, ordinary Nigerians are watching with mixed feelings. Some are hopeful. Some are tired. Some believe change can come. Some believe nothing will change until politicians fear losing power. But one thing is clear, people want a real alternative, not a recycled choice. They want a team, not just a candidate. They want a plan, not just promises. This is why El-Rufai's message continues to echo through the political space. It forces everyone to think. It forces everyone to question their ambitions. It forces everyone to consider unity over ego. He understands that the only chance to defeat APC is for the opposition to move as one, not as scattered rivals. Inside Labour Party, the confusion continues. The leadership crisis is getting worse. Court cases are piling up. Members are fighting for control. The party looks weaker by the day. Many of Obi's supporters are already preparing for the possibility that he will leave the party when the time is right. They believe he needs a stable platform, not a battlefield. But even if he leaves, where will he go? ADC? A brand new coalition? A merger between ADC and Labour Party? Or a completely new structure that is not yet public? Nobody knows. And that uncertainty is what makes the political atmosphere heavy. As 2027 draws closer, the pressure increases. Regions are watching. Power blocks are adjusting. New alliances are forming quietly. And Nigeria is slowly moving toward a political showdown that will shape the future of the country. What happens next will determine everything, whether the opposition unites or collapses, whether the ruling party holds power or faces its biggest defeat, whether Nigerians get a true change or another repeat of the past. The storm is no longer coming. The storm has already begun. And the decisions made in the next few months will decide the direction of the entire nation.